We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Welcome back to Inside Scoop. I'm your host, Catherine Reed, and tonight I'm talking with Ryan McElveen. He is on the Fairfax County School Board. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Catherine.
So let's talk a little bit about social media. That's actually my background. When I met you, I was actually doing social media consulting. That was a long time ago when a lot of people didn't really know what it was or why anyone should care.
Unfortunately, now too many people know how to use it.
Too many people. Like, I can remember telling particularly political candidates that they should be using Twitter, and Mark Keem said, Twitter's the stupidest thing. And you know something? I still think it's kind of stupid, but everybody's there. And that's the whole point, isn't it?
Right.
So,
although you might regret telling some political candidates.
I know, right? We need to shut it down for some people. But you know, you brought a knowledge of these communication tools at a time when the school board and members of the school board had not embraced them because it was not something that they had used, right? I mean, you were younger. You had come out of college and out of graduate school. And so you knew that people were online and on Facebook and using these tools. But it's more than just using it for frivolous reasons.
Right.
I mean, you could have used it for frivolous reasons, but you didn't. But explain to us, all of us, how this has really been a great organizing and communication tool for really important issues.
Well, so in Fairfax County, where we have a populace of 1.1 million, it's important to be able to connect as directly as possible with that many people. And it's very difficult to hold one-on-one meetings or go out in the community
with every person
and have a town hall to which everyone can attend. And so Twitter and Facebook and all that has been a great way to easily get quick feedback from lots of constituents. And obviously the most powerful and most connected group of constituents has been our students and our younger constituents. And so from them, they've been able to provide feedback on so many issues that we've dealt with. And they've been really the champions on a lot of the major issues we've dealt with. You know, the gender identity issue is one. You know, younger people are much more open to
very much so
those issues. Dress code obviously is another one. Perhaps the most prominent use of social media among youth recently has been the campaign against gun violence. And so, you know, we're on the school board, we're very proud of our students for standing up and taking a stand. We've done what we can as a school board to really push back on federal officials who don't see it as a issue they can tackle. We believe they must tackle it for the benefit of all of our students. And at the local level, there's only so much we can do with that issue. You know, we've just come out of a meeting where we were discussing our improvements to safety and security procedures. We're going to be looking at ensuring all doors have two-sided locks. You can lock from inside. Looking at having security cameras in all major areas of schools. But again, there's only so much we can do, and it's up to that next generation, to the youth, to really push that issue and make sure our officials at the state and federal governments hear about that critical issue.
So social media it's always been an organizing tool. It goes all the way back to Arab Spring, and people are like, how did Arab Spring happen? It happened because of platforms like Twitter. And you're right, students can come together, not just in their own school or even in this county, but the Parkland students are now on a tour this summer to go to a lot of different communities. So that communication is with your school board member, it is with like-minded people, it's with your peers, and it's with a national movement.
Right.
And I think one of the remarks that you made at the school board meeting was about supporting these young people in their advocacy. You know, supporting their First Amendment rights, supporting them and going out and doing something about issues that matter to them the most.
Mm-hmm. I think that's one of the things that has made Fairfax County's response to this advocacy unique. You know, you'll see horror stories in Texas and North Carolina of school districts really shutting the kids down, forcing them to stay inside the schools. And first of all, I don't think that's legal. I mean, students have rights to free expression. You know, the Supreme Court
right.
Decided that in Tinker versus Des Moines, right? And so we as a school system, we have that legal base for allowing students to express themselves, but we do see them as the next leaders, future leaders of our country, and we need to do what we can to foster responsible leadership. And what we've seen in the walkouts that took place this year is an incredibly responsible group of students. I went as a bystander to see how to Hayfield Secondary School on the day of the national walkout, and it was incredible how the students had really put so much effort into organizing a productive and calm ceremony that really brought the issues to light.
Well, I find it interesting, and this is, I'm a baby boomer, and boomers still run the world. That's just the way it is. And often we neglect to try to understand the perspective of students who have lived their entire lives, because Columbine was 20 years ago, their entire lives with the threat of gun violence in their school, and it's been normalized. All the lockdown drills and all of the metal detectors and the things we've done to our schools has basically normalized gun violence. And boomers don't really experience it that way because we didn't experience it at all as young people. And that's the other great divide, the great gap, where the people in charge, it seems to me, need to listen a little more carefully to a very valid lived experience of these young people.
Absolutely, and we have to do what we can to secure our schools without militarizing them. So without, we've looked at options of putting magnetometers in schools, we've looked at options of arming teachers.
But that's what you do in a prison. Can I just say, can we kind of look at the parallel between how you operate a prison and what is happening in our schools and saying, how is this a good quality of life?
Right. So you have to maintain that sense of community and peacefulness that really is what fosters a productive educational environment. And so that's the fine line we're trying to draw in Fairfax and other communities. Going back to the social media issue, though, and what the Parkland students have really done, and what we see our students doing at a local level, the anecdote I always like to use for our students is that back in 2015, when we had the major snowstorm that resulted in the Close FCPS movement, that was a moment when our students really shined, for better or worse, and they really brought attention to an issue that they were passionate about, and they trended #2 worldwide. So that just shows how powerful they can be if they put their minds to it and rally around a cause. And so it would be great to see that kind of advocacy on gun violence prevention and other issues as well.
And not just closing the schools for
That's
snow.
right. Yeah.
But you really have made a name, and you've become a meme. There's a funny meme going around about Tim Kaine as a dad joke, but you were like a meme way before Tim Kaine could figure out what that was.
And before Tim Kaine ran for the vice presidency, I had more Twitter followers than he did.
That's right.
But he did surpass me. So.
But it's an interesting thing because I see that as a positive too. Everywhere you go, students recognize you, and they really think you. They're like they do selfies with you. You're like this person they look up to, and isn't that kind of what you want? As an elected local leader, and your constituents are certainly parents, but your constituents are students too. And the fact that they can connect with you in that way, to me, I think is remarkable. I don't know anybody else or any other school board members who are like mobbed when they go to oh, hey, Pat, Il-Young, come over here, selfie. But you fostered a different relationship. I think social media did make that easier to do.
Absolutely, and it's something that we hadn't seen before I got on the school board, and I'm hopeful going forward, even long past my time on the school board, that kind of special relationship will continue.